Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is G. Cole, and welcome to Homegrown, where I get to share with you some good music while talking to some great people. Hello world, I hope you're feeling as good as I am. I want to pick up all my homegrown listeners out there and welcome all the new listeners. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do so we can keep you updated when new material is available. We do release new episodes bi-weekly. Want to thank everyone who has been listening, subscribe to the podcast, and if you haven't already done so, please do. We're available on iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play, iHeartRadio, all your podcast platforms. We listen to some great music. We talk to some great people. Oh, we're also available on Amazon Music, Amazon Prime, and subscribe. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is episode 180. And as we keep our focus on mental health, today's special guest is a licensed mental health clinician, Miss Candice Forrest. We're going to have a conversation with her, get deeper, see what we can do to bring some awareness to the community. Miss Forrest has been on the show before, and we welcome her back and thank her in advance for her expertise. Today's episode comes to you courtesy of Nelsia's Natural Herbs, located at 2780 North University Drive in Sunrise, Florida. Also, 11 Jimmy Cliff Boulevard in Montego Bay, Jamaica, and also in the Island Village Shopping Center in Ocho Rios, Jamaica. Let's do this. My special guest inside of the building right now, mental health professional. We're just going to call her Dees. You know what I mean? Miss Candice. So I'll go on, Fredo. Yes, there.
Hey, how you doing, G-Code?
I am doing wonderful. So good to see you.
Long time no see, no talk. No, that's not true.
That's not true. That's not true. What is very true is how difficult it is to get you up in here. That's what is very true.
I'm a busy lady.
You're a busy lady. Making sure everything goes well and then people don't be tripping out there in these streets.
We try, or I try, I should say.
I think you do. You go more than try. You're doing. So here's the deal now. As always, every time we sit down, we always take this approach, and I'm going to stick to my approach of I represent the ignorant populace, right? And you are here to set me straight, right? So I'm gonna say stuff that's gonna be. Last time you were here, you taught me a word, by the way. I was using this word incestuous, and you told me it's enmeshed, right?
Enmeshed, yes.
Oh, so I'm still not saying it wrong. It's enmeshed.
Enmeshed. Yes, you did.
I like enmeshed more, but yeah, but I was saying incestuous for a while because it hammers home the point. But and I changed to enmeshed, which is also incorrect. So it's enmeshed.
Enmeshed.
Cha. I had some folks in here last week. Mm-hmm. They were from the Autism Speaks.
Yes.
Because I didn't realize that there was a National Autism Month. There is, and that's great. And as we got into our conversation, you realize how many people are dealing with stuff. We have a tendency to feel like everything is us, right? It only happens to me. Ultimately, it's happening to a lot of people. And one thing that they did harp on a lot is one of the biggest hurdle in getting help and getting things taken care of is parents or guardians or whomever being in the way. They insert themselves. So it to some degree, it stops being about the child and becomes about them. How much of that do you encounter in your field and trying to assist, especially juveniles?
Well, I'm a little bit removed from that population in terms of since the last time we saw each other, we spoke. Mm-hmm. I've transitioned into crisis stabilization, so I'm more so on the hospital end of services, which we do still see some of the parent-child interaction, and you pinpoint and you be like, well, this is a kid's issue and this is the parent on the kid issue. So you're still seeing it even though it's in the hospital setting.
Right.
I can say that yes, it does factor in, because sometimes the parents they're focused on the kid, but then somehow they get lost into, well, this is a me issue, not my kid issue. This is not me putting my anxiety on my kid. This is me putting my depression on my kid. And sometimes we end up, even though and I say we because I work with a number of other sisters, but in working with the kid, I still have to then take a step aside and say, hey, mom, hey, dad, what are you guys doing in the home? What are you helping to facilitate? And the more you talk is the more you realize what's going on with the kid versus what's really going on with the parent. So you, even though I'm not doing as much outpatient work and I'm still doing the hospital work, it still gives opportunity for me to be like, hey, okay, so this is what I see going on with the child, but here are some suggestions I can give you in terms of what you guys need to do separately, and then what you need to do on the family end of it. Because it's all a unit, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, the kids are coming, they're from that environment. So we have to work with, hey, mom and dad, this is what I'm suggesting for you. And then this is what I want you to try and reinforce with son, daughter, if it's several sons, several daughters, big families are still a thing. So yeah, we try to, I can say personally, I try to definitely give mom and dad their space. If there's a mom and a dad, if it's just mom, then it's just mom, or just dad, just dad. But I definitely try to give my 2 cents of, hey, I see where your frustration is here, but this is what you need to do separately as the parent versus this is what you need to reinforce with the kid. Sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't. We fingers crossed. we give the suggestion, which is really all we can do. We give the suggestion. We try to shed that light in a very small frame of time, because it's, as I said, it's not outpatient anymore. It's stabilizing the crisis in that moment. Right. So it's just getting them to be like, well, let me give you this nugget. Hopefully you'll take this nugget and run with it. So moving forward, when you're in the outpatient and you're not really in the crisis mode anymore, you can take the steps to work on you and mom together versus you and mom and the kids together.
So do you find that, and again, I remember when I was young and we moved here and we went to an apartment complex, right? It was one of those apartment complexes up north in the northern part of South Florida, which is a lot more of, it's more predominantly white, right? So our realities are a little different, I learned. And I remember there was a time where some kid got caught smoking and the apartment manager was taking them to their apartment to go get to their parents, right?
Correct.
And of course, kids there's a long trail of kids because they love the drama, right? And when they pulled up to the door and knocked on the door and the door opened, a bit of smoke come out, right? So it's like you open it, poof, smoke come out. So the lady just turned around and walked away because she realized, okay, this is a moot point. I'm here telling your kids smoking. Y'all smoking like crazy in the house, right? How much of the parents can you see in the children in terms of parents not being receptive to you saying, okay, you know what, maybe you need to sit down with us and have a convo, right? Do you see that as a reflection in the kid too?
I do, and that's a big part of the challenge when you're doing counseling, therapy with the kids. It's the parents' expectation versus what realistically you can do. So I'm seeing a kid for 45 minutes, maybe an hour, and I'm supposed to create this miracle in this 45 minutes to an hour.
Right.
And somewhere in there, I'm also trying to reinforce to mom and dad or whoever the parent is that's presenting, hey, this is what your kid is struggling with, but this is what you also need to reinforce at home. And sometimes I get the agreement and they're willing to do the work and they're receptive to the suggestions. And sometimes I get, yes, sure. And then I come back the next session, I'm like, we took 2 steps back. Which it does make then, what I do that much more difficult, because here I am trying to push the kid forward to create that, work with the kid to create that change. But I really do need the parents to do their portion, because 45 minutes to an hour, that's one aspect of your life. Right. You get to go home and now that has to be put into practice. That has to, the work has to be then done once they're out of my immediate space as their counselor. So it is a challenge. It is a challenge because it's you're trying to get everybody on board and realizing, okay, this is where we keep having missteps. Right. This is where we need to make change. And the change has to be continuous work. You come to me for one day during the week, but there's now 6 other days that you guys are interacting in your bubble, in your unit, in your environment. You still have to put that to practice.
One other thing that they mentioned is that a lot of these things will cause divorces and stuff like that, because oftentimes both parents aren't on the same page, or maybe let me not say it that way. They don't respond the same, right? There's one person who's going to be like, you know what, we got to do what we got to do. And there's another person that's still personalizing it, whether it be from an optic perspective, how it looks on them, or from a vantage point of, this is my kid, did I do something wrong? You know what I mean? And they have two people who are on different pages, so to speak. Technically three, because you have the two adults that's on a different page, and the kids, if there's multiple, whatever the case may be. How do you address stuff like that? Because that, in my perspective, is there's a major problem at hand. You need these parents to be able to be in a position to assist the child when you're not there, but they need some assistance themselves. How difficult is that to deal with, and how do you approach that?
Typically, if it's individual work and they're not requesting family therapists per se, I usually do sessions independent. So I have the child for individual, and then I will pull the parents in separately for their own session. I'm not doing couples therapy, so because that's then a whole other basket that you're opening.
Right.
But I really have to keep it central to, well, if this is the mutual goal for your child, this is the work the two of you have to be doing together. And you're having these conversations independently? Meaning the parents are there, but the kid is in the waiting room waiting for their session. Okay. Yeah, because, listen, kids have their days. They do the whole play parent against parents. You have to keep that in mind. Right. There's so many factors you have playing in your mind working with them as families, but I try my best, especially working with the parents, to bring them back to, okay, well, we have to figure out what the goal is, the common goal. What are we working toward as it relates to what we need to improve? And if the two of you are not on the same page about what that goal looks like, then we're going to be in a continuous circle. Wow. Do you, because, there's also questions out there as to, is everything clinical? One video I was watching referenced a child who exhibited or was diagnosed with autism, but the person had gone through some abuse and it was never noticed prior to the abuse. Now, I asked somebody and they were like, well, no, that kind of stuff doesn't normally lead to that, right? It's normally something that was probably already there that they didn't pay attention to. Is abuse, any of that kind of stuff, a contributor to any form of neurological or cognitive disabilities and adverse to just everything being? So, I mean, I haven't stayed on top of the studies because, there's always studies for them to... Ever evolving. Yeah, ever evolving and trying to make connections, because ultimately we just want answers. We want the, yes, does this connect to no, this is... And the truth of the matter is there's always several factors that can contribute or don't contribute at all. I don't know how many people are watching Love on the Spectrum on Netflix. But I remember watching... Word is that your show. That's my show. But this is a prime example. Right. So there is one of the families or one of the individuals on the show, he has a twin. His twin doesn't have autism, and he does. And that took up my whole attention the whole season. Is the fact that here it is, they're fraternal twins, and the sister has no symptoms of autism. She has, no diagnosis whatsoever. But here it is, he's diagnosed. I don't remember, they didn't mention like what degree to autism, because they have different degrees to autism. But in that, how do you explain that then? In that here it is, two babies in utero growing together, and then they're here, and he is and she's not. So I wouldn't say that it doesn't. To what degree it does, more research would be needed. Because then there's a fight of nature versus nurture, where you can be perfectly born with no issues, and then something happens environmentally, or something happens in utero, but then environmentally the parents take all the steps because something is caught early. So there's all these factors that can play in, And we talk about caught early, which is very, very important. Diagnosis and treatment, yes. Is it, when it's not caught early, oftentimes, is it just that it goes unnoticed, or is it the word of denial? I don't know if as much as denial is like it's not caught. Just things are bad and bad and it's full of energy. Right, because we, unfortunately, we do this thing where you're just bad and you want a beating, and that's not, right. That's not always the automatic response. That's not the automatic fix it. I don't doubt that there's some parents that may struggle with the accepting that their kid has that struggle, or has that, that they have to now grow with and learn differently and adapt to differently. So I would say the denial is in that sense, in the sense of, oh no, that's not my child, more so of, wow, my child is now struggling with this and I don't have the answer. I think it's more so that than the in denial of there's nothing wrong with my kid. It's more so realizing something is there and it has to be, we have to stay on top of this and we have to be consistent.
Right. Again, sticking to your favorite show, right? Love on the Spectrum, which I've been dragged into. But and it's cool.
Were you really dragged though?
I was.
You were.
Well, I was encouraged.
Thank you.
I was like strongly encouraged.
I like how you rephrase.
You gotta rephrase a lot because she might be watching. But the thing is, you know what I mean, and I gotta go home to. You know, I go already. But what I see here is these people trying to find love, right? Love is a universal thing. Most people are trying to find love, right? But I've noticed some people going on dates, and I keep asking. I'm asking her, like, so she know. I'm like, yo, is that person on the spectrum too? Because the person I'm gonna go on a date with, no look at that on the spectrum too.
But look, okay, but all right.
But when I say look, I don't mean aesthetically. I mean in terms of functionality, right? And what they exhibit on camera. Is it? And I'm choosing my words carefully. Like I said, I represent the ignorant part of the populace, and you represent the educated part of it. Is it unrealistic to assume that somebody who is on the spectrum, especially as far as a lot of these people are, will exist or coexist in a romantic relationship with somebody else who is not on the spectrum? Or sometimes it depends. Maybe it's better for them to be in a relationship with somebody else who is on the spectrum. Does that matter at all?
I'm not sure if it matters as much as maybe it's a little bit easier, because then they can then understand where the other person or how the other person interprets certain things in their environment, or understands how the person experiences certain things in life. Because they're both reacting to it in the same way. They're both looking at it from the perspective of struggling with, or I shouldn't say struggle, but living with autism, right? But I don't think it's any more difficult, or I wouldn't think it's any more difficult in that how they process things or how they see things or how they view things. Maybe maybe less emotionally driven, because we react to things very intensely, and I want to say maybe that's the balance, where they may not have as strong as an emotional reaction to something in their immediate versus we see it and our emotions are on 10 and they're on 4, so they balance with each other. I would imagine that there's some balance. That's the word. I would imagine that there's some balance that they can give each other.
Maybe the struggle then, if there is one, would be more so on the part of the person who is not on the spectrum, being, having to interact on a daily basis with somebody who is, because understand it as you think you may, there's still going to be a lot of stuff that you don't, because again, I'm going off of the show and I'm watching it and I'm just like, as I see them operate, there's two things I do notice, and I'm sure normally to facilitate the show, they probably get the best candidates and whatnot. But I will say, I give kudos to their families, because they all seem to have a solid, even if it's a single mom, they seem to have a solid, loving family structure, which kind of corroborates the theory you mentioned earlier of a lot of the success or failure is going to be dependent on that support system.
In working with crisis, one of the aspects that we look at when we do our assessments for patients is risk and protective factors, right? Risk being the things that can not help them along the way, things that are going to either make symptoms worse, symptoms less manageable, and then we look at protective factors. The people around you, your support system, the relationships in place, what coping skills they've built up to date, that maybe they're not just tapping into and need a little bit more reinforcement with, if medication is an option. But those risk and protective factors, this is very much what we're speaking about, is the protective is, what does your support system look like? What's your village? We love that word, right?
The village. Yep.
What does the village look like? What does the village have to reinforce? What does the village not reinforce? And I think that's one of the things, because I think I watched the show with a little bit different eyes versus
more than absolutely.
I'm kind of watching it from the perspective of what does the village look like? What does coping skills when you're in this environment, when you live with autism? What does that look like? Because I'm not what do you call it? I don't specialize with autism. I have associates and friends in the field who that's their population, like to A, B, C, D, F, G. That's their population. But I know I look at it from the perspective of, okay, well, this person has these protective factors in play. How does that then translate to, what is the average population? Why don't they look at their protective factors and put those protective factors in play?
Right.
I mean, and I guess so. Their demands are a little bit different. But nonetheless, it's looking at what your resources are and how to get your resources. And your resources doesn't necessarily mean like community. Your resources could be family. Your resource could be your circle of friends. Your resources is, well, what do you typically do when you're home to occupy your time, or when you get bored to not lose your mind, so to speak. But it's getting people to look at what are your coping skills, what are your resources, what are your protective factors.
Right. Watching the program, as well as having conversations with other people who operate within the field, what I've learned is that the spectrum is wide, right? Very wide.
Very wide.
But we're talking specifically about autism. When it comes to a lot of the other neurological issues, the schizophrenias, the bipolar disorders, and a host of others, which we umbrella under the mental health, are the spectrums as wide for everything as it is for autism?
In my opinion, I wouldn't say so. I think maybe autism is a little bit broad of an umbrella. I would say maybe second to that is the bipolar and schizophrenic umbrellas. Because I feel like there's only so much that you learn in the college setting, and then you get to the community and
it gets real.
And it gets real, and then you realize, oh, it's not just one diagnosis. There's different variations of a diagnosis. There is, and you're a student and you have to keep all of this in mind, and then you go to the real world and they tell you, well, the test you took is not really reflective of what you're doing. It's really what you're doing in the. So yeah, I would say that there's autism it is a very big umbrella. There are some other diagnoses that yes, there's different ranges, but in my experience I feel like, because there's high functioning, there's low functioning, and then there's all this in between. And then of course there's the adults who get diagnosed, as they say, later in life, and you're like, wow, and you've been functioning quite well without this knowing.
Nobody's saying,
right. So, but
them just things said, boy, Johnny's special.
And special could mean you're really smart and you catch on, and there's some things that you do really well and you don't even realize like how easy it is for you to learn this or pick up on that, and you're thinking, why doesn't he realize like how well he's able to learn these things and adapt to these things? And he's just thinking, well, this is just how I live every day. And then next thing you know, he's tested and he's a genius. Like, you see what I'm saying? So it's I would say it's a very big umbrella in comparison to some of the other diagnoses I've worked with. Yeah.
And in terms of adulthood, adult life, success, failure, in terms of just not financial or whatever, but how you exist in the real world, you find, not just based on the research, but your experience, that that the people who have been diagnosed earlier or have had the attention focused on this issue from earlier end up being totally different, vastly different from those people who are diagnosed later in life.
I don't know if it's so much as totally different as it's much more resources that they're able to tap into
at a younger age.
Yeah, because talk about catching it when it's early. Catching it like it's a cold, but you're seeing things and you're like, well, okay, let me check this out more, let me talk to the pediatrician more, let's get some tests going. I think the quicker or the younger that something is picked up on, and then they follow up with the appointments, they follow up with testing if needed, it puts you in a position to get more resources in play.
And the word that word you just mentioned has come up a lot in my other conversations, which is resource, right? And I had people in and they were talking about the resources, and then I've had people who are in the real world dealing with that, right? And they've said pretty much, people talk about the resources, but the resources are not as easily accessible as sometimes people make it seem it is, right?
Unfortunately, yes.
Especially right now, we're in a time where there's all kind of cuts. You know what I mean? The money for the resources gone over by a bomb. You understand? Or buy some other things. Buy some other things.
Buy some other things. But no, you're correct in that the dwindling of the access to, or the dwindling of the resource itself doesn't really help in the process, that does make the struggle that much more real, as we would say.
Right.
And also really it depends on the regions, because there's some parts of the country, unfortunately, where the resource is the hospital versus a clinic. The resource is the hospital.
And is there a difference in quality in terms of, because finances always play a part in it, right? Because when you don't have the resources financially, you're trying to now find what's accessible to you for free, right? Or what's government mandated, what's issued, whatever. In adverse to, you have the money, so you're gonna try to find, technically speaking, the best facility for them, right? Is there, I know it's the way when it comes to regular healthcare, but when it comes to mental health, does your money go farther away in terms of helping people?
I mean, if you have the money and you can afford to, more power to you. There's always the option to, if you have health insurance. So that's, again, that goes back to the whole what's been cut, what's now more affordable for families. If it's affordable for you to pay out of pocket, that can make things a little bit easier in terms of access, in terms of speed of when things get done. In terms of if you're going through insurance, then you have to deal with, well, there's a copay. Can you afford a copay? Does the provider accept your insurance? That's another fight that hopefully you don't have to go through. But it depends on one location to, if you're willing to go through insurance, if you have it, and then if you're willing to go with a pocket, can you afford it?
Right. I remember speaking to somebody and they were saying, well, I've got 2 or 3 visits under my insurance, and my insurance will cover. And then afterwards, I'm on my own. We've seen the evolution in healthcare, primarily in the cost of it more than the quality of it, right? It evolved from expensive to way, way, way expensive. Not necessarily from good care to great care, but we've seen evolution and we've seen things being addressed. And there's certain things from prenatal stuff, home health that has been included in health insurance to some degree, but we haven't necessarily, or maybe I'm wrong, seen a lot of increase and evolving of what's offered for mental health. We see, market the whole 3 visits, then probably never used to get back in the day. But right now, do you think insurance companies will ever look at it like, okay, you know what? All of your mental health care should be included.
You're going to get me in trouble if you ask me that question.
May I put the Hollywood blur over your face, man? They won't know it's you. I'm talking to Keisha.
I can't speak on why health insurance functions the way it functions.
You can't speak on that.
I'm above my pay grade. Can't speak on why.
Right.
And this is coming from someone who has health insurance, and I have to still struggle with, wait, how much am I paying out of pocket?
Right.
Even though I have coverage.
Right.
So health insurance is health insurance. It's I want to say, we laugh and we make the joke and say it's a numbers game. Health insurance is health insurance, and that's not a fight I can win. I can make suggestions.
Right.
I can try to point, people in the right direction, but unfortunately, there is definitely more direction that they take versus, well, this is what patients in need of, but this is what we're willing to do, so take it or leave it. Right. So, and that's why I say,
red pill, blue pill.
If you're able to afford, then you can come with a pocket. I'm happy for you. If you're working through health insurance, then you kind of work with what you're working with.
The first time we sat down, there are certain things I went into, right? One of which was, are people more fragile? If you remember this conversation, are people more fragile now? Right? And this is 7 years after that. Are people more fragile, or is it one, we're just more educated as a society, or secondly, is it just a transparency? We're cognizant of things right now that weren't before. Cameras are out. So, but you remember, Jamaica come from, you either go from seeing to mad. There's no in between. You're either seeing, mad, and mad is proven by the pants you have on. If the body out the door, it tear out. If you're sleeping on then that mad.
That's the mark.
Yeah, that's the mark. Right? So it goes from that to seeing and just lazy, right? But we've grown, and there's more transparency. I also think there's more education out there. There's more information at the fingertips. I mean, what's the evolution you've seen in terms of people being able to identify stuff and deal with it?
So, two things I've kind of, and I say two, I'm sure there's a number of other things, but two things have kind of stuck with me as I've worked through the years in the field is I look at how, people, mostly teens, but I look at how people would handle certain stressful situations. And I think to myself, somehow we lost the mark on instilling with our kids and then coming into adulthood a sense of resilience, right? Where there are certain things where we could see a situation and not over process it and still be able to manage it and come out at the other end of it. Now, I mean, kids are like breaking down and having emotional outbursts and not being able to handle things that we would consider small things. Right. So there's the whole, where did this resilience go? And why is it that our kids, somehow we're not implanting that in our kids to test the waters and understand, okay, structure, boundaries, thick and skin. And then you mentioned the word transparency. There's a degree of exposure that it's a lot. It's a lot coming. And it's not just kids. It's adults too. Because, we have this wonderful entertainment that we call social media. And unfortunately, people can be so distracted with what is on social media. Even adults, you're thinking, wait a second, how old are you? But they get distracted, and it's like, where did it get to the point where you were this distracted, where you're like lost in this avenue versus building yourself up, working on yourself to kind of create this life that you're content with, or create your own lane of happiness, versus being so focused on trying to meet that expectation that social media is pushing at you. But what you're seeing, like, people are putting that out there, but whether or not that's how they're actually living, it's a whole other story.
So hold up. So the advent of social media, it's proven the ill effects, right? Do you think, and we talk about our resilience and how people were and how we were raised and having to be tougher and all that good stuff, right? And they always say the people who go through the struggle will always raise weaker children. You'd think that they would want their children to, but sometimes they try to protect their children from all the ills that they went through.
Right, because they're looking at it from struggle versus strength. Like, you're looking at it from, well, all these are the things I didn't like, but how come we never stop and say, but these are all the things that I learned that I got strong from that makes me this resilient person. Like, why don't you why is that not reinforced? And I always find it strange that our go-to is to always say, well, I never liked this, and this is what this did to me. But I'm like, but it also created this other side of you as well. Right. Where you're going through situations and you're managing to come out of those situations stronger and not broken. So why is that? Why are we not praising that as well? Wow.
I guess that would also lead to us looking at the balance of the nature versus nurture, right? Because I think right now we're at the point where we're putting a lot more credence on nurture, on nature, right? When based on if what you're saying or what we're saying here is really so, nurture is way more impactful than we really want to give it credit for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And again, we talk about if social media was around when we were young, right? Enough artists are in jail, but that's not the point. If social media was around back then,
we'd be in trouble.
Do you think it would have, because we still talk about that whole resilience, right? Do you think we would still have these issues?
I don't know if we'd have these issues as much as we'd be more punished, because then our parents would be finding out some stuff that we'd be up to.
Not me, man, I'm a saint.
Right.
But but I feel you. Except me. Yeah. Alejandro's girl did. Holy childhood too. You know what I mean? Elijah and Murray.
I don't know if it would. I would hope to think that it would bolster us that much more. I would hope to think that it wouldn't change how resilient that we've become or how we've grown into as adults. But I think to a degree, I think we've gotten lost in the I don't want my kids to experience this, so I'm going to do this, and I think that's unfortunately kind of crippled.
Right.
You know,
We're not giving them no strength.
yeah, we're not giving
Coddling.
them the benefit of the doubt that they can they can handle it. Like,
And I see resilience. I see, you say that, and I see so much resilience in these kids, but I only see it when they're allowed to be resilient. It's like the child that is two different kids. They're one kid when they're with mommy and daddy who pick them up and make sure them, do everything for them. And when them do have an auntie or uncle, they operate like full grown adults. You know what I mean? And then, because I remember when my daughter was little, right? And she was with me.
hey, Joy.
Big up yourself. We'll let it out. But I remember when she was a young girl and she'd be with me. She makes her bed, she does all these things, and whatever the case may be. I came to find out later she wasn't doing that at home, right? So when she was at home, it's almost like it was a fight. It was a thing for her to do the little things that when she's with me, she do automatically. So it kind of showed that, okay, so there's a reason for that. Because when she was here, I wasn't doing it for you.
It's not that she can't, exactly.
And she'd do her thing and she came up with constructs. I remember she's going to school and I was so proud that I didn't have to fight these battles anymore because she's getting up and she's making her bed. But I went in there one morning before she wake up and I realized I may get scammed because she spread the bed before she went to bed and just cover up with a blanket. So when she get up in the morning, it's an easy fold out.
Work smart, not hard.
Exactly.
Work smart, not hard.
But at the end of the day, she knew what the end result was and what she needed to do, and she figured out how to do it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I do realize that a lot of times, yes, parents are the ones who are handicapped and pit them. You know what I mean? You see these kids and they're full grown adults over there, but over here, so they're babies. You know what I'm saying?
I'll give you an example. So for I want to say our Caribbean listeners, you guys know this concept of the helper, right? We all grew up and we have helper, the helper to this and the helper to that, and for the most part we're a tad bit, spoiled to some degree. And I remember when we moved here to Florida at 15. I was 15 at the time. My older brother was then 20 or 19, going on 20. So I'm assuming the message was really for me, but I digress. So the first conversation we had in the home was my mom saying, go in the laundry and figure out how to use the washer and the dryer because I'm not getting a helper. And I'm saying to myself, I'm like, we are in trouble. Reality check of this is how you turn it on. This is the laundry detergent. This is the dryer. Figure it out.
Right.
You will get it. You just don't put the bleach on the color. But it's the whole.
And you've been doing laundry ever since.
It's like I'm giving you the tools. Put it together and figure it out.
Right.
I'm not going to cripple you. I'm not going to hold your hand because you are of age now where there's these things that you can do for yourself. And I don't have to be behind you as we say pee clock.
Right.
But somehow that got lost along the way, unfortunately.
And had she gotten the helper, right about now, your shirt, a pink out, all the things that
tie-dye.
Cha. Again, we are here. This is where we live. This is home. This is what it is, right? But we never vacate or abandon our patriotism and our love for the homeland and pay attention to what's going on there. I see over the years some changes going on in Jamaica. From my perspective, a lot of the changes criminally and otherwise are generally reflective of here, just a little bit behind, right? Violence in schools. There's growing up, we don't know nothing about no mass shooting. There's something going on in Jamaica. First of all, bullet not cheap at Jamaica. See what I'm saying? So the mass shooting now go on. There wasn't any. The kidnappings weren't like that. It wasn't a lot of them things that go on. Drive-bys and all them things, right? So a lot of the things that we encounter here, them say when America sneeze, Jamaica catch cold, Jamaica sneeze, right? So I've been seeing a lot of that. When it comes to the actions now, I'm seeing a lot of violence now in the schools. Lately, I'm talking about deaths, right? Children in the last month or two.
Not
thumping a face. No. Kicking a body. No, none of that. I'm talking about dead. Now, I don't know if that was the intent. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you get in a fight, you ain't gone too far, right? I don't know if the intent was my killer brother. but it's been multiple in the past 2 months and so forth. It might have been 4 cases in different schools, and it's not relegated to any one area, even areas that you don't normally get them things in, right? Seeing stuff like that coming up, is that a trigger to you or a warning to you that there's a mental health crisis amiss, or just America catch cold and Jamaica sneeze?
So one of the things that kind of throws me sometimes is the tendency to blame or to throw in the label. Sometimes it's bad behavior that needs to be corrected. Why we're having now this spike or increase could be exposure. I wouldn't put it past that. That's a probability that's exposure. It's the Fahrenheit. What was that song that they did back in the day? Word them
Fahrenheit. Yeah.
What are the things that you're choosing to model and where you're modeling it from? But some of that, very much of the bad behavior versus, oh, he has a mental or she has a mental health. I don't want to say that all the time that's an issue, but I feel like somehow even that we use that as a cripple, where we would rather, instead of correcting it and
we clinicize
and accountability, it's no, let's just put a label on it. How about we not just put a label on it and it just as bad behavior that he's correcting? Because everything is not a behavioral issue because of a defect or a behavioral issue because of mental.
Daddy, I shut up, so you shut up too.
Sometimes it's just bad behavior that needs correcting. If it turns out that it is a mental health issue, then let's get the resources in place.
Right.
But let's not just like pigeonhole and say, oh, well, it's this, and then kind of then coddle and not really address other things that are a likelihood as well.
So that being said, because an issue I always had is I always feel like we're at the time where we clinicize everything, right? Where if something happens, the first thing we're trying to figure out is, well, 2 things. One, who's to blame? Because it ain't me, right? That's generally the first thing. And the second thing is, now we need to clinicize it. Because everything that happens, we've gone away from bad people and evil people and just wrongdoers
or bad behavior. Yeah,
bad people and evil people and wrongdoers and bad behavior. I threw that in as 4, and the first 3 still valid. So we're straying away from that and going to clinicizing everything. So most things that happen now, there's a prescription for it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we need to do. We need to, again, I am all for getting help, but at the end of the day, not as a crutch, to the point where right now when people do certain things, adults do certain things, the first thing your attorney's trying to figure out is, how can I wonder if I can get him off on the grounds of insanity and talk to me.
But okay, you touched on something when you said, for example, in a situation, attorneys have a job to do. Let's just put
but if that loophole, if that situation never existed as strong as it does,
but whether or not that's a valid loophole to use your, whether or not it's valid versus it's just a loophole, is
I get paid to get you off.
The attorney's doing his job or her job.
Okay.
If that's a factor, then clearly we don't want to ignore that. If there's a history of, because my question is, listen. YouTube is my friend. I watch these court shows. I'm thinking to myself, okay, we're going to use this angle. I'm like, here we go. Let's
you see it coming.
I'm seeing it. I was like, I'm waiting for him to go mental health. And I was like, there it is. And I'm like, okay, track record. Is there a history? Is it undiagnosed history? Is it diagnosed history? Has he been getting treatment, not compliant? Not getting treatment, but there's been a track record and there's been signs, versus no, all of a sudden, no, let's just put this label because this can be a tool to it doesn't make what we do fun. It doesn't make our work that much. It doesn't make our work any easier. Because now you're mandating someone who used the loophole to come to see me, and I have to sit there now and decipher. Okay, are we gonna BS this thing out? Are we actually gonna do?
We're gonna tell the truth.
We're gonna tell the truth.
Lock them up.
Are we gonna do the work, or are we gonna work with the loophole? So that's the frustrating part, is how do now we, meaning us, the professionals, we go in and now we're trying to decipher, okay, is this something long-standing that's been ignored and not treated because it wasn't caught, it wasn't addressed, or is this something now it's you've got a mandate to fill and now we have to figure out how to get you across that line and then get you out of my office and sign you off to the judge.
Let me big up. So Violet, thank you so much for the vibe, man. Ita Morena. Courteous, large of yourself. Kay Kelly, large up. Everybody in the building, man. Samantha, thank you so much. Amanda, all that. Anna Marie, everybody. You know, we it's funny. All these things that I draw upon are things that I see happening, whether it be close or wide, right? And again, we go back to, because I'm always concerned about tomorrow, right? I am not always going to be this physical specimen that I am. You know what I mean? This beast.
No, we're not.
I'm not always going to be this sexy chocolate. You know what I'm saying?
That cheese curls we had earlier. Yeah.
Hey, keep that, yo, that's between us. It's veggie cheese curls.
It's veggie cheese curls.
So I'm not always going to be this. So at some point in time, I'm going to be reliant on the younger folks. Why? It's funny. I say 3 generations, right? Like beneath me, there is Joe's generation, and then 20s, I go up to the 30s, right? And then you have the younger generation now. I don't know why I have more faith in the younger generation. You know what I mean? Like the teenagers that's coming up right now, young teenagers do it. In adverse to the ones that were on the cusp of being my healthcare professionals. I'm a pilot. I'm your attorney. I'm just saying, they seem like the Chat GPT generation. But as we look right now to the future and the people who we feel like are coddled or were coddled and clinicized and given and not taught the resilience, they're about to be the ones that we're reliant upon. Right?
Power of attorney.
Power of attorney, yeah, all that good stuff. As a professional, on behalf of yourself, but on behalf of me and other people, are you concerned for me? Not for you, but are you worried? Are you fearful for my future?
Since Joe and I are buds, good
right?
friends, no, I'm not worried about your future, but I can understand that being very realistic in the sense of the tides have changed, where our parents, they lived to take care of, right? There's the caretaking of the grands and the great grands. To some degree, that's a bit of that is in us, right? Let's be honest, because we're not going to sit there and let our parents just be miserable and wallow in this. But we're getting to this place where there's I don't know if you've read about this or seen it, the no contact, where they're going no contact with the parents and they're cutting off, and that seems so foreign to us because that's not a value that was instilled in us or that we were raised. We weren't
blasphemous.
No matter how, your parents used to beat you. Now that we have this word of, abuse. No matter how much
whoop daddy.
No matter how much abuse, quote unquote. No matter how many times you were punished, and it was for a good reason, or just in case you're getting this spanking, just in case. But we still held on to, or we still hold on to some degree of but there's a certain responsibility that we have to give back, whatever that give back looks like for you, because your give back may not be my give back. Your contribution to when your parents get to a certain age, it doesn't look the same for everybody. But yeah, the younger ones coming up, I think their view of that care of self is now changing. And what we would think is responsibility to them, that is not a responsibility. My responsibility is to make sure I can feed myself.
The responsibility is one way.
The responsibility is one way. Or if there's that responsibility, is I'm putting something in place so you can be taken care of by somebody.
I ain't got to take care of you.
Right. So
if I got the money, I'm going to pay for some people to deal with you, so I ain't got it. And if I ain't got the money, peace.
Or I'm getting the resource in place so that you're good with that resource and it's there because I'm doing this over here. And I don't want to say it's a fault as much as it's just a changing of what we instill, what we raise, what we encourage. And it's different for every culture. It's different for every region. We would never think of, well, maybe I shouldn't never, but we wouldn't really think of certain avenues when it comes to caretaking of our elderly or certain responsibilities. For the younger ones coming up is
a different thing.
It's that responsibility is not being instilled. It's not a value where it's like, well, this is what you have to do when, which is why to some degree, I'm not even angry at the whole no contact,
Do you think any of that comes from, again, environments are different, social norms are different. We're coming from a place where a lot of, and this was, now might be a little different in Jamaica too, because Jamaica, when we were kids growing up, the infrastructure was a little different. A lot of development hadn't yet taken place in certain places. So we always had a lot of land, but you also had a lot of people who, when they became adults, they still weren't too far removed from their parents. Most of the people who departed were those people who embarked upon some super successful careers, right? But if you're doing well, you're still in and around, primarily because just going and building a house out, just going and buying a land out in wherever and building on it was not that popular, right? Mortgages weren't that easy to come by and all that stuff. Now that things have changed in that regard, we do have people who are departing a lot more from that close-knit
Our norms
nest.
are changing.
The norms
Our
are
norms
changing.
are changing. Mhm.
And I think we're also, as a culture, adopting and adapting to the US 18 and you're out concept, right? So it's almost like you have your kids and they know, you've made it known that up until a certain point, you know what I mean? And I wonder if that is contributing to the way how the kids are viewing things. Like they see a detachment time too. You know what I mean? I do wonder if any of that plays a role into that.
Here's my theory though on that whole, when you're 18, you're out thing. In working with families, one of the questions I would put to the parents, well, I get it. I'm not agreeing or disagreeing. I'm validating that this is your norm. I'm validating that this is the structure you're putting in place. But then I'm also questioning, okay, so how are you preparing them? How are you preparing for when 18 hits that they're ready? Because we do this, we're kind of talking up both sides of your mouth, because in one statement you're saying when you're 18 you need to be out of here. But then if there's an argument 5 minutes later, it's my house and you're doing as I tell you to do. So it's like pick a struggle. Are you prepping me to be ready to separate and be independent at 18?
Right.
Or is my house and you do what I tell you to do and you don't question me? But because you can't play both cards. But I think I'm thinking at this stage it's more of I'm prepping you or I'm showing you now what you have to do independently, so you're that much more prepared. Because I want to say there is a degree now of kids where the parents are being that much more maybe leaving them to their own. Do this and figure it out. What percentage that is, I don't know.
Right. But it's increased.
But I'm sure that norm has changed where we're not doing so much of the do as I say because this is my house and I tell you what to do, as much as it's you need to get that done and you need to figure out how to get that done.
Right.
Which would be nice if it's structured versus I'm leaving you to do it all willy-nilly.
No Dios but no.
Listen, versus I'm giving you a few hints and tips for you to figure it out, because ultimately I still have a responsibility to teach, but then it's for you to put it into practice and figure out A, B, C, D. What works for me, what doesn't work for me, because you still want to guide, but you want to see them build that resilience of, well, I did this on my own and this was the consequence and I figured it out.
Right.
Versus, no, the door is there, it's 18. Now pack up your bedroom and
don't carry the bed in there, me mate.
Leave the dresser drawer.
Yeah, I mean,
just take them back with your clothes.
Take them clothes with your Playboy, But we go. Let's go to an avenue that I've been hearing that there's a lot of issues going on out here, right? I don't know if these people come to, reach out to you for help because these are grown adults. The word safe space for men has been coming up recently. Have you heard it? Like men can't express their vulnerability and their emotions because the woman am gonna say, boy, what kind of punk, what kind of it's this I'm rolling with.
Listen, I'm going to be the first to tell you, I've often been told that my mind works differently than everybody else, but I've always found it interesting that men haven't always had a safe space, especially with partners. Like I find it very odd that we're in a place where men don't have safe spaces with partners, like whoever.
What in your opinion, what's considered a safe space for men?
When I hear safe space, I'm thinking a space where men are allowed to be emotional beings. And however, that emotion, not necessarily, I don't want to say physical, but how they're allowed to release certain emotions, express certain emotions, be respected for having an emotion that typically we wouldn't say is manly.
Right.
Because we've definitely we've lived that whole men are providers. Okay, yeah, but they're still beings with feelings. So do we not give them respect for them to have those feelings as well?
Right.
Like we're not just want to kick you out the door to earn the money and come back. I mean, like I know that's the thing.
I mean, word on the street.
But why have we not always been able to allow them that space? And allow is a terrible word because then that gives that there's a control. But why has there not always been that space for men to not just be the financial providers? Why hasn't there always been that space for them?
Right. It's it's funny. It's almost like a shift because the conversation always starts one place and ends other place, right? And the conversation, as far as I'm concerned, started in a place of, the women having, a man that they can lean on and whatever the case may be. And then it's shifted to, but can the men exhibit any form of emotions without being, and you see, I don't want to judge because what I realize is this, the people them, and in your field, we won't use this word, but I'm gonna say the nut jobs are the ones that go in front of the cameras, right? The people who want act crazy tend to go in front of the cameras, and the people who reserve turn it out. It's like reggae and dancehall fans, right? Reggae fans now say a word no. Dancehall people load. So let's just refer to the great people as the dancehall people, right? So dancehall people be out here on camera saying all kind of things. Yeah, I want that man. That man is this. That man is that. Whatever the case may be, right? I don't know why these reggae lovers are going for the dancehall people anyway, metaphorically speaking, right? But I always felt like when I hear people say, man, I can't be vulnerable, I don't have a safe space within my home if something I go on, I'm express myself a certain way, then, I get thought of as less than. And then I said to myself, back in the day, the people who weren't expressing themselves that way emotionally was probably expressing it physically, right? Because if it bottled up,
it was coming out in a different
way. You getting beat up, right? And
they're going missing.
That too, right? And we thought it was progress to move away from that, to move away from physical violence, from being physically abusive to your significant other, to the point where when you express your emotions now, you're deemed less than. So are you telling the man going back to revert to the violence?
Well, so I think what you're touching on.
You see me dance or anything to ginger?
No, you're not dancing. I think what you're touching on though is what I would then go into a session with in terms of relationship dynamics. Because to put a blanket statement and say, well, women don't support their men, like that's a very...
It's Keisha name, not everybody.
That's not everybody. That's a horrible blanket statement.
Right.
Just like how we would say, all men cheat. I mean, all right, bad one.
Foul. Flag on the play.
No, but we put out these blanket statements that are not helpful, and for a percentage isn't true. But then I feel like we're going into the avenue of relationship dynamics when people get into a relationship and, well, what's your expectation as my partner? What am I expecting of you in terms of your role in a relationship? What am I expecting of myself? Like, what am I giving in the relationship? What are you giving the relationship? Are we on the same page about what this relationship is for both of us versus it turning into, as you said, the reggae and the dancehall, and then it's a toxic situation of trap. Right? It's a toxic situation of trap.
Right.
Because somewhere along the line, we didn't have a conversation as two adults of what we wanted our relationship to be, or what was acceptable versus not acceptable in a relationship, versus, example, we don't agree on finances. Was that a conversation before you decided to buy a house, unmarried, and move in together? You understand what I'm saying? It's like, but these are adult decisions that we're making, and we're making them without certain conversations being had. And that's why I say I think that's more so a relationship dynamics of, are you in a relationship where you are respectful of your partner to give him that room to go down in his man cave because that's where he can vent?
Right.
Or are you going to be like the lady on Instagram that her husband fell asleep in the car and she's like bombarding him like, you need to come inside, and he's like, no, I need peace and quiet. And she's doing the very thing that is causing him to be in the car, which is disturbing his peace. Right? Why are we? That's a relationship dynamics issue.
You know, it's funny, the word dynamics, because you observe different people and they have different dynamics. What works for one might not work for the other.
Absolutely.
But when we talk about relationship dynamics, I have friends that we have the relationship conversation. And sometimes I say to my virgin, our sister, and say, I hear you still not, I ain't the professional. But at the end of the day, I said, some of the things that I think they have for you though. And I said, what do you mean? The relationship thing, based on what you're saying your expectations are. And how the thing are going to go versus what you are bringing to all the table now. I'm just like, man, I think that thing they have for you still, I feel say you need to deal with you. You know what I mean? You need to work it out because you haven't figured out your situation. But what you're doing is you're taking, for lack of a better word, your brokenness over there for to try to make somebody patch it up and patex it up and they make it whole. And if they don't do it to your expectations, which is on the fly because you don't really know what your expectations are, right?
So you're right. And I think what you're talking about is like, for example, when we make our happiness other people's responsibility. You know, like the whole, no, but in a sense, isn't that what you're doing? Because essentially you're like, well, I want this to be happy and you need to make it happen.
Yeah.
But then you're like,
so I don't know how to make myself happy.
Because I haven't figured those steps yet, so I'm putting the responsibility like that. How is that fair to you? Because then are we not now creating a situation where how are you going to know what your safe space is? Because now you're putting you're putting that responsibility on them to figure out, versus you being you've done your work and you know what's good for you and what's not good for you, what your boundaries are, what you're not willing to tolerate, and hoping that person is coming in on the same wavelength. They've done their work.
Right.
They know what works for them. They know what their boundaries are, and then we're putting this together and making something functional, something content, versus something where there's a protective order because somebody got physical, because somebody used a word that triggered something.
Is there a spectrum on your chart that is just crosses? It's like you go from one end to other. Some people word. It's not a therapeutic word. Because some people have crosses, and you talk to some people, and it's like they're crosses. Or the brother, they're straight up crosses, so I'm just like a crosses. People like there's nowhere on the spectrum that you can check off crosses. No.
Crosses.
Greg, no, I just want to know. I just want to know because crosses exist. You know what I mean?
But I guess that's what they will in the terms of relationships, and we are saying toxicity. So we say crosses, other people say toxicity. Is that I'm thinking that's along the lines that we're going, right?
And guess what, crosses. And then the thing is this now. What I've realized is this as I have these conversations. You're in relationship number 54, right? And relationship number 1 through 53 failed for the same reasons. Right, and you're now on 54 trying to figure out if these expectations are going to put on relationship number 54 will be matched and met. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the hope is that somewhere along back in 24, 23, 22, something clicked. Because if it didn't click, then it's not going to click at 53 or 54. And at 53, 54, you're pretty much set with whatever who
you are. Yeah. Because I feel like at the age you're not changing up my clothes. I hear that. The person ain't changing who they are.
If there's a change, it's going to be very subtle. And then you have to make the decision if that degree of subtle is okay for you.
No, you need medication. Oh, Lord.
The degree of subtle has to be okay, that you're willing to, I can work with this.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, if you're just joining the party, I'm having a conversation here with, like I said, I am explicitly representing the ignorant populace today, as I can speak to somebody who can represent the educated part of it. I can big up those people who are on here. I'm gonna have to go through. Anne has a lot of things she had added in here, so I'm gonna get into it in a minute. Like she said, saying things like real men don't cry contributes to culture of violence that we are seeing. Men are dying in quiet desperation. You say, Anne-Marie, you married? Come have a friend need to talk to you. You know, you're a good brother.
I like Anne-Marie.
You like Anne-Marie?
Nice to meet you, Anne-Marie.
And my profile picture is her with a cutlass. I'm just playing Anne-Marie. It's love. Anne-Marie says safety is an emotional space that gives men the permission to talk without being seen as soft. You know, it's funny. You do talk to some of the ladies out here and they do exhibit this kind of stuff. They'll tell you straight up that kind of beautiful saying and whatnot, right? But like I said, the reggae and dancehall concept, it's kind of quiet. And the people are out here being rather verbose, you know what I'm saying, are the ones who are spreading the other rhetoric and the other narrative. The concern I have when it comes to a lot of that, honestly, is young people. Because they're seeing something, right? Like I see, what over the last, not this year, but over the last couple of years, I also saw, and this was in Jamaica too, a lot of violence from young men, high school boys, to young high school girls age. And then again, wondering where that came from, right? Obviously, it come from somewhere. Probably you see violence at home. Mm-hmm. But then anytime violence
or something is now being normalized.
Or something's being normalized. Which that tends to be happening more now than ever. And then what you realize pretty much is, okay, why? Because anytime things happen, we break it down into victim, perpetrator, right? No matter what the circumstances, victim, perpetrator. And again, like Marie said, yeah, you're seeing some things when not supposed to go that way, but where exactly does it come from? So if you're trying to put a fix on this now, are you going to try to fix this violent man? Are you going to try to put more effort into, my girl, you probably can't behave that way, because at the end of the day, even though I'm wrong for the act of violence, are you in the hospital over here? So, right? So when we see situations like those, as a professional, what's your approach? Where do you try to approach it from?
So I'm trying not to get dumped into the victim blaming basket.
Hollywood blur. The Nazi.
So there's the whole taking account of behavior, right? Because if you're putting your hands on people, you have a problem. Mm-hmm. Then there's if you're in the relationship and you have a certain way that you communicate with someone, or a certain way you react to someone, do you realize that you're pushing a button? Because there's bad behavior and then there's bad behavior. There's bad behavior where I'm choosing to react physically, and there's bad behavior where you are making a conscious effort to do this to your partner. Mm-hmm. So it's like two wrongs don't make a right.
Right.
It's not okay for me to constantly berate you. It's not okay, because for us, clearly, it's not going to be, well, I shouldn't say not going to be clearly, because you have some really strong women out there. We're not going to go automatically the physical route.
Right.
But let's take responsibility for our mouth. And it goes both ways. Take responsibility of your tongue being a sword. Mm-hmm. No, but it goes to relationship dynamics. In my relationship, do I belittle? Am I verbally abusive? Mm-hmm. Am I cutting as a partner? What is the bad behavior I'm feeding into? Let's just say, but let's take the physical violence out of it. Mm-hmm. If your behavior contributes to your partner shutting down and constantly walking out the door, when he walks out the door the third time, or when she walks out the door the third time and then they don't come back, you're going to say, well, it's them, but you're not going to say, but this is what I keep doing.
No accountability. I've had a conversation in here with people, and you tell me if I don't expect you to, because again, from a gender dynamic, but it comes up a lot of times that when it comes to men, women, it's a struggle for women to accept accountability for stuff. Do you find that to be true? Like when you're dealing with people, is there a difference in the gender aspects at all?
My experience is there's accountability, but we're going back to the conversation of degrees. There's a certain degree, yes, but ultimately for some reason we keep coming back to, but he and or she did this. But they're reacting to something. Okay, so their reaction is not the healthiest of reaction, but there's something they're reacting to. They're reacting to a trigger. Is your behavior a trigger? Is your behavior encouraging or is it discouraging? Is it promoting the negativity, meaning the arguing back and forth?
Right.
Is it encouraging solution versus is it problem stricken? And it could be, it's either or, but I don't think, because I think I've heard this statement in other conversations too, where women don't take that's not my experience with the women I know.
What about the one that comes sit on the couch? What about the one that sit on the couch?
That's not the one of the things that I find, or I found when I was still in private practices, we coddle to a fault. We tend to coddle to a fault.
Who's we?
Some women, I'm not going to say all.
Okay.
Some women will coddle to a fault, where
Coddle a man to a fault?
yeah, where they won't say, you know what, but this behavior is not okay. So then the behavior continues, and they're tearing up and they're dying inside in the name of encouraging him or putting him on a pedestal. I'm like, but that's not.
That happens? Thought it was the other way around.
I'm telling you, I've seen
Keisha.
situations where I'm just like, this is not conducive to your relationship going in the direction you're telling me you want it to go. and based on the intensity of your reaction and your response in this session,
right,
it's clearly not working for you either.
Wow.
I don't believe in the whole women don't take account. I don't know, these people on social media, they really put
that's
stuff
something.
in your
That's
head.
how people. It's dancehall people.
They put these things in your heads, and I don't know where they're coming from.
It's dancehall people, man. It's dancehall people. And them going on with something that's reggae people.
Yeah, that's I'm sure there's a degree of women out there who unfortunately would rather blame than say, well, all right, I took 2 steps instead of just taking one, and this was the result, versus just outright just blaming everybody, like, you know, you're in your 10th relationship and you're still not happy, and
right.
Okay, so then let's not make number 11 the same situation. Let's do something different.
Keisha.
Where Keisha is.
Big up myself, Keish. So, you know, again, the conversations a lot of times that come up more than anything else are these relationship conversations. I tell people this all the time. I'm out these streets. You know what I mean? I've been off. I've been out the streets for a long time. I can't relate to certain things. You know what I mean? I'm a married man. I do have responsibilities at home. I do know. I tell people all the time, being a married man is knowing that you are, and especially if you're a parent, you know, is knowing that you're number 2 or number 3 in the household. But guess what? You're good with it. I'm just happy being number 2 or 3. Yeah, you know, say, boy, you know, shots fired. You the first bucket, you gotta go there. Shoot me, buddy. You know what I mean? If I want bullet you have. But it's just when we talk about relationship dynamics, as I speak to the people who are struggling in these romantic relationships, as I talk to them, oftentimes there are also people who did not have solid family relationship and that was that agape brotherly love. You know what I mean? People talk about even nowadays, well, oh, many men don't have another brethren where they can, and I never knew that was an issue, because I got brethrens. I got brethrens as like my brothers, where if something happen, I don't believe it or not, we don't have them deep conversation. If you were to be a fly on the wall and listen to all the conversation, remember, you think we stupid.
No, I don't believe that.
Okay, you think it's some deep thing I go on, you know, my you know, so
well, you can have maybe those deep conversations are few and far between. Don't cheat yourself and think you're not having those.
Well, I'm not saying it doesn't ever happen, but for the most part, you think that when you see we go off in our corner, they're saying that, yo, they might have the brotherly conversation. If you ever see him and I'm gonna be, yo, that new killer there, a bud. You know what I mean? It's just. But when I hear people say there are many men who don't have another male in their lives that if they might go through something, they could go to. And again, they harp on that, and I use the word harp, not negatively, because of the fact that you can't go to the woman because she gonna say yourself, right? You can't go to her and tell her certain things, she gonna say yourself. So now you have to go find somebody to talk to, but you don't. And then you have the whole bottled up situation, people doing crazy stuff. Is that surprising to you when you hear people say, yeah, many men, and the number, I don't remember what the percentage is, but it's high, have, based on statistics, say they don't have a male friend that they can actually go to?
I find that very surprising.
Yeah?
I genuinely find that very surprising. It's a little bit disheartening that they don't have, or here I am making the assumption that as men you do, because we know we have our circle, we have our little circle, we have our women who call us on our ish as our friends,
right?
And I would think that for men it's the same, that they do have, or maybe they don't have that circle, or maybe their circle is not the circle that provides that kind of support. I don't know. I'm very surprised that is the case. That men don't have that other guy who can be like, yo, let's reason, let's talk this out.
Right.
Why are you in this space? What's going on? Why haven't you reached out to? Why haven't you tried to connect with? Because your friend, they're not always going to have the answer, and that's okay if they don't have the answer, but then do you stop there and not try to find an outlet to get the answer?
Right. The other thing, I when I first heard about that statistic, I was wondering more so because what I have had, again, I got my circle of folks, and it doesn't matter how deep it is, if I'm going through loss, grief, whatever the case may be, I never really dealt with anything by myself. From the loss of my mother to the loss of my brother to whatever the case may be, I don't do nothing solo, right? To the point where at one point I had to ask myself, did I grieve? Because I had so many people there to hold me up, and we're involved in a lot of things, and some of it they're doing just to make sure they keep me distracted from the scenario, that I've wondered, did I grieve? Right? But that to me is something I am grateful to have. I've also had scenarios where people would come to me and my response might not be echoing the sentiment they want me to echo. They're coming at me with some BS, and I'm gonna tell you straight up, yeah, I feel you, Virgin, but I think you're wrong. You know what I'm saying? I wonder, when I first heard that stat, I wonder if it was a situation where do they not have people to go to, or they don't have people to corroborate the BS that they want them to?
Because there's I want to say there's people who, and it's a general thing, they want to hear people tell them yes, or they want to hear people say, yeah, you're right. Not, well, this is another alternative. This is another way that you can look at, have you tried to view it from this lens? Versus if they're just, and in situations like that, because I've been around people like that. I've had conversations with people like that. And when I picked up on that's what they're looking for, I just sit and I listen. And I let you vent, because at that point you want to vent.
You just want some ears.
You're not looking for
constructive.
You're not looking for suggestions or criticism. You're looking to vent, and if my role is to let you vent,
then you do that.
Then vent away, talk away. I mean,
I'm giving you 15 minutes.
Listen, my ears going to get hot. So
right.
But I'm going to let you vent, because you're not coming to me for a different perspective or a suggestion of how to then move out of the situation.
Right.
And I'm not going to encourage the foolishness, so I'm just going to let you vent.
Right. And just let it be.
I'm giving you the respect of letting you vent.
Yeah, this is very, very in line with the DC, I know. But
I'm going to let you vent because
keep it real.
But I'm your friend, and I understand that there's a certain approach that works for you, and there's a certain approach that works for me. There's only so much I'm going to keep giving, because I'm going to give you nuggets, and the minute I realize you don't want that nugget anymore, I'm just going to let you vent.
Keeping your nuggets. You know what I mean? Especially as the price gone up.
Listen, because these gold nuggets are expensive. They are expensive. So there's only so much I realize that you're going to absorb. So I'm not going to waste the resources if I know you don't want the resource. That makes no sense.
Right.
But I'm going to give you your space to vent.
Right. No, I feel you. And I've had to do that. Just be the listening ear. But sometimes I wonder if I approach it wrong, because I've actually asked a question too. Once I'm responding, and I realize, like you said, you pick up on the fact that I ask the question a lot of time. I'm like, yo, let me ask you a question. You just want to vent? I'm listening now. Or you really want? You know what I mean?
Are you trying to find an answer?
And they'll be like, yeah, man, move on. But then you realize that ain't it, right? So I understand exactly what you mean. Now, tell me if this is healthy for me as a friend, right? To being a friend. I've had scenarios before where somebody I deal with something, and they're like it's something in their relationship. Now, mark you, I am not most of my friends, I am equal friends with the husband as I am with the wife, right? But there are some scenarios where I am friends with the husband or the wife, and the person you're bringing into the fold is new, right? Or maybe doesn't know them. Sometimes someone I keep some people on the quiet. But when you tell me this is good, Jonathan. So when these things are going on, I will always preface it by saying, you are my friend, right? So because you're my friend, I'm just gonna let you know, unless I hear something that is obvious and explicitly you and your BS, I'm likely to tell you to leave that woman. You know what I mean? I'm not here for her. She got her girlfriends for that. So when you come to me will tell you if you left the woman now. If you know, say you're not really that committed to doing that, and you go back home and cry, and you don't really want, then I might not be the guy for you, right? That's my outlook, and I've said that to folks, and I've encouraged people to abort their situation, abort mission, leave that one day alone. Am I wrong for doing that? For being that way in a scenario?
I don't know if you're being wrong as much as you're being the friend that they're expecting you to be. Because I'm assuming that if this person has you in their life as a friend, then clearly they know what you're coming with.
Left again. Yeah.
Whatever the advices you're going to give, or the suggestion or encouragement or the criticism, whatever the nugget is that you're giving, I'm going to assume that this person has known you for some time and are fully aware of what your nuggets are going to entail.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean,
it's spicy or not.
They're not having a conversation with a complete stranger or someone they've known for a year. This is a fortified friendship. So I'm going to assume that they're in that space where what you're giving them, they're receptive to. Or they know what you're going to give and they're calling you in the first place for that.
Yeah.
Versus they're just calling somebody in their phone call G out of the blue.
Yeah. I feel you. I just, I've wondered about it of late because I've been having a conversation. I even got a whole song on it on the upcoming album, right? Just pretty much.
Are we getting a piece of that tonight?
No, not that song. Not that song. Album comes in the summertime. But it's how I look at it. It's kind of like the content of that song, and it's as real as it comes, is I am at a happy place in my personal life, right? Of course, we have realities and things or whatever, but my outlook pretty much is all I see is blue skies, no rain. You know what I mean? That's how my outlook is. I have friends that I love, and the only thing I wish for you is the same blue skies, no rain, right? So when you come to me with certain things,
you live in Florida because our weather don't
I'm
work.
Just saying. I'm just saying.
Our weather doesn't work.
All I see is blue skies. So that means that sometimes I just close my eyes and see it. But my outlook is, if I feel that way and that's my experience, and you're my brother, I'm a sister, I'm a check for you that way, that's what I want for you too. And if my observation is that Cross's girl there, or that Cross's brother there is not providing that, then I am probably going to say to you, not yeah, let's think about it or whatever. I will explicitly say, left a girl there, or you need to leave a brother there because that crosses that. And that does be your problems. And I've lately been wondering, man, I wonder if I'm wrong. You know what I mean? For taking that approach. You know,
I don't know if you're wrong as much as you're being honestly you.
Well,
You're being what's the word that we float, authentically you.
Oh snap, my authentic self.
You're being that authentic friend that they're expecting you to be, and that they've come to know as well. This is how he's going to give it to me. If that's not the reason that they've been your friend for the period of time they've had, then I don't know.
Hey Karina, say hey Dace.
Hey, C.
I think honey that we're worried. Valerie, how you doing? Thank you so much for joining the party, having a good time with us. Lots of those people in radio land, driving in traffic right about now, soaking some of this in. We all need to hear stuff, man. I mean, we play the music 24/7. So every now and then we're going to have a conversation that's going to enlighten and inspire and do all of the, right? Do you think, Dace, that a lot of, there's something I like to call a construct, right? And I think oftentimes we think that life and things are just evolving. Do you think there's intention? There's a construct being created by whomever the powers that be, right? To divide, especially the black families, the man and the woman, in order to weaken family dynamics for whatever gain. Because that's a conversation I've been having lately in terms of when we see all of the dynamics, the things that's happening in families right about now, it almost seems like an intentional people are by choice trying to divide families because they feel like the broken home provides more, people for them to take advantage of.
I'm going to default to this response by saying study history. Study the history of people of color as it relates to family values and family structure over time, and I think that will give you the answer you're looking for. Because you will see over time, yes, there've been the families where there've been mother and father, children, close knit, structure. But for the majority, look at, especially here, if you look at history over time, I can't say that there's not been forces at play that in turn affect what we know as the family units or family dynamics, or what has been, or what has contributed to struggle to maintain that for some people in society, and how much they've had to fight to be able to establish that stability.
So check the history. Rastaman said check the levels. Check the levels.
There you go.
Ja. You know, there's a lot of, again, I have conversation with these people outside of the studio here, and then I have to bring it in. Oftentimes I'm talking about it on my own. So whenever I get the opportunity to, I gotta definitely pick your brain on it. What another thing that we see a lot going on is, like we've spoken earlier about children departing from their parents and what we would deem responsibility. In other cultures, you know, it's almost like the brownstone with the 3 floors, right? It starts out with mom and dad at the top, you know what I mean, grandparents, and then whatever the case may be. At some point, it may shift just based on who's physically able to climb or whatever the case may be. But it keeps not only the financial part of it intact and the money within the family, but it also keeps the family structure together. And as I research different cultures, it seems normal in different cultures. In our culture, not so much, right? Do you think, or would you encourage that kind of living in terms of, because I honestly feel like it's good to fly, to spread your wings. I do believe in immigration and emigration. I do think people, I don't think everybody's meant to stay where they were born, right? And I don't think it's healthy to some degree. But would you encourage people thinking more along those lines today in terms of, you need to keep your family structure together, and even though infrastructure, your house may not be designed that way, you might not wander too far.
But how much of that then would be me imposing something on the individual versus them individually creating that space for themselves?
When you say imposing, what do you mean?
Meaning I'm imposing a value onto someone. It's not my job to impose the value onto you or impose that life or structure onto you. It's me to facilitate what is the path or goal you want to aspire toward. And if your path or goal is to get out of the brownstone and get into the 1-story in Manhattan, or the one, the condo in Manhattan, then it's the condo in Manhattan. Because if that's what your step to contentment is, then how would I or what would I be doing if I'm imposing for you to go the opposite way?
But there's always a narrative, right? And even the spreading the wings is a narrative, and it's a narrative. As I research this too, it depicts, I don't know how true it is, because that too can be a narrative, that a lot of this is set up for commerce, right? You spread them out. If you got 4 mortgages, if you got 3 kids and a parents, and you can turn that into 4 mortgages in adverse to 1, then it's better for commerce, right? And the economy, right? So I get that. So that's a narrative in itself that's being played. So if we are seeing these issues with these people, then probably there's nothing wrong with a counter narrative, if at all you think it would be beneficial, for families to them. Because again, you think about the elders, right? We're close to our parents, we take care of our parents and so forth. But as we are, is as many people who are not. And it almost seems like taught behavior. I always wonder, okay, when your parents raised you, where did that narrative come from? We live in a social media construct.
When did it change?
When did it change?
When or what caused it to change?
Where's the influence coming from?
We were just saying earlier, right? It's like we had a, not narrative, but we had a path of, well, you take care of, you don't just let them off the wayside, versus this generation is now saying, I want to be not in contact at all. So something changed along the way where we decided, or there was a decision made where this norm was not going to be the norm that we're going to be raising our kids with. Or I want to say there were some people who maybe just made the conscious decision that I'm not going to burden, because they felt to some degree it was a burden. So it's, well, I'm not going to put that burden on you because I don't want you to have that responsibility on top of you. And this could be the parent's issue versus the actual issue for the kid of, I'm not going to create this burden because I don't want you to build resentment, because I've built resentment because I got stuck with the bird. Because then now that's their issue. Now that
transference.
Yeah. Now it's, and to some degree, you're going to have to like commend the parent and be like, well, I appreciate that you took that step back, but that was, again, or I guess we could now define that as the changing of the guards, where we're no longer going to go with the narrative of I take care of, or now it's my responsibility. It's, no, I'm going to teach you, or I'm going to encourage you to be independent, because once you're gone, you really should believe in your life.
Right.
I would say it's a changing of the guard.
Just
like
time.
This norm. There were certain things that were realized, and our parents decided that this is not the reality that I want for you. Like, I want your reality to be your reality, and for you to be happy with your reality.
Until you get to be 70 and your kids living in San Diego.
No. and whatever happens where we get to this, like, I don't know how we got to this space where we're doing the no contact. Like, I don't know what influenced. I mean, short of there being trauma, whether it's domestic violence, abuse, whatever the trauma is, where that is the deciding reason that you're going no contact, versus you're going no contact because you just don't want to be bothered. Right.
Now let me ask you this though, because I as I'm also having a conversation regarding an older gentleman that I know, very nice guy. But he's having a lot of that kind of issues with his kids, and you can see that there's a detachment, and they come by, yes, but it's pretty formal, and they're trying to make decisions for him and so forth, and it's an issue for them right now. And from my vantage point, I look at it and I'm like, this is so sad, such a nice guy, why do blah 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 blah. But then I have to catch myself and I say, the man that I know is not necessarily the father that he was to them. So sometimes we got to pay attention to that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, y'all look on him, man, he was such a great guy.
Gee, that's no different than the conversation of when parents become grandparents and they're letting the grandchild run buck while in their house, and you're looking like, where was that
when I was a kid?
When I was growing up?
Yeah,
it's literally the same dynamic. It's literally the same dynamic. We're like, that the person that you're seeing doing this, that's not the person. That's not the space that they're in when you were being raised.
Right.
Short of they get to send the kid home and they don't have to deal with the kid being spoiled and acting up.
No, I asked my father that once. I was like, "Yo, what happened to?" And the response I got was my responsibility to raise you. It's not my responsibility to raise her. It's my responsibility to have fun and make her and spoil her. I send her back home. He literally said that.
But is it a lie?
No.
Okay.
No, and to be honest with you, if and when I get to that point, I'm gonna be a problem.
See?
You know what I mean?
You're already a problem.
I'm a Red Bull him up and send him home. You know what I mean? But
you're already a problem.
Just a revenge. I'm like
the Cheetos.
I would get him the veggie Cheetos though, like the ones I have.
You're already a problem. Yeah.
Read the thing. It's veggie. but it does. I have to, because a lot of times we get so concerned and empathetic with the person that we see now, quite unaware of. Is no different from, and again, this is an extreme, is the person in church right about now who feels, say, because I'm saved today, the things that I used to do are non-existent. That's why I be a liar in the church, be a liar in the church. Because here's the thing, the deacon, where they are sleeping, everybody done so, and the wife kind of have an idea and hear about it and deny it before them turn Christian. Him now all of a sudden now admit to it, but I don't deny it for 20 years, right? And I know I'm the pastor up here, so right about now, I ain't gonna admit to it now. So that means I be a liar in that church, see me? And the same thing go for Sister Maxine, you know what I mean? Who did lose so hearted, right? But now she ain't. But if you ask her, I think you can tell us.
But Greg, people can grow and change.
Yeah, but it don't mean that your Carfax has been. Listen,
people can grow and change.
Yeah, and I appreciate.
I mean, that's the hope.
I appreciate
the hope is that there's growth, which is what you're seeing when they're spoiling the grandkids instead of like they've become softer.
But it doesn't mean that you weren't that guy.
No,
it don't mean you weren't that guy.
It doesn't.
All right. So again, we're looking for some grace for everybody here, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I want to thank y'all so much for rocking out with us, bro. Man, tell us, again, Straight up. Every time I have a conversation with these, I will wholeheartedly represent ignorant populace, right? And I give her the opportunity to represent that part of the educated part. As we approach wrapping up, right?
Kill my workout tonight.
Ja. No worries, the 2 push-up and you're good. It's not that'll fix the problem. Yeah, it would not work. That's true. Veggie Cheetos, I digress. But we see the issue of ladies complaining, say, no good man out the road and vice versa, right? I'm the love doctor. I'm not trying to have, this is not a love doctor show, but I'm the love doctor. I know how to fix these things. It's a different episode. From your vantage point, right? Is it just excuses that people are using to maintain them single life because I'm like it? It's fun out the road, enough at Galley Road, or it's a reality?
I want to say, I'm not going to say there are no good men, but I genuinely believe there are women that are very comfortable in their singleness. There is a peace of mind that they just refuse to disturb. And I say disturb in the sense of anything that comes in to disrupt that peace, that quiet. Because that singleness is not an indication that they don't have their fun outlets. Whatever the outlet is, travel, friends, hookups, whatever the fun is, that's not an indication of, well, I'm single. Because when some men say single, what they're really trying to put the label on is saying that you're alone.
Right.
That is the problem. That's the confusion. Single does not mean alone. Believe me.
But I know 2 different type of single ladies. I know the single person that you're speaking of, right? That's comfortable in that spot. But I also know the single woman who is actively going on the dates that are looking for something else.
There's something, and
they're searching for something.
There's something they're searching for, but there's also something they're avoiding. But we don't know what that thing is, and that.
So means I've been wrong, because what I told one person pretty much is that the truth is, and it was just based on my interaction with her, right? It's not so much, when you say you went out there and you encountered and you just weren't interested. It sounds to me like the one where you're interested and decides to no want you either because you're crosses too. You understand what I'm saying? So it's a situation where crosses are go to road, you know what I mean? And when crosses go to road, crosses pick it up, and you feel here I go.
So reggae gone to a trap
reggae gone a trap place.
Yeah.
Right? But the thing is, again, it goes back to that accountability, being able to accept, say, damn, maybe I got some stuff. Maybe I'm not the catch I think I am.
Or I'm not going in the spaces I need to be going in. If you're a regular, why are you in the trap space?
You're fishing in the swamp.
Are you honest with yourself about the space you want to be in? Are you honest with yourself about the space?
Are you regular? Are you dancehall?
Are you regular? Are you dancehall? Are you saying you're regular but you're really? Are you grace thrillers but you're really ladies, huh? Like,
hey, listen.
Make up your mind about that space that you want to be in.
I mean,
which is an honesty with self.
It is. Be
honest with yourself about that space. What is it you're looking for versus what you're putting out there and saying, well, this is what I want. But
you know what I think they're looking for? Because everybody think they're a catch, I think all the ladies think they're a catch. You could have dipped on a corner. So but they think they're a catch and it's you're missing out on a lot. You're missing out on the best thing that could ever happen to you, even though it's on the corner of 45th and Main. You know what I mean? Anyways, I digress. But the thing is, I do think that a lot of the issue that, I guess, again, I preface it by saying I think, a lot of the issue is everybody thinks that they're a catch. So even when somebody rejected you because of some issue that within you, instead of assessing that, analyzing it and trying to make a fix, your default is going to be, me never want them. You know what I mean? It was something with them. That's something that I have noticed. You know what I mean? And I do hope that Keisha and them, your homegirls and them.
My homegirls.
You know what I mean?
My homegirls don't fall in that category.
Your homegirls don't fall in that category? Mm-mm. Your homegirls are good girl them. Good as. Good up. Ladies and gentlemen, it is G Cole, it is D's. Listen, thank you so much, first of all. We can't go through this. I know you're only supposed to be here for a shorter period of time. You know what I mean? It's all good. walk home. Yes, I'll drive your car home. If you walk home straight, listen.
I'm gonna lose that. I'm gonna lose that way for sure. Walking home,
you'll lose everything.
Oh, jeez.
I want to thank you so much for hanging out, for having a good time with us.
As always, it's been fun. It's been real. We should do this more often.
Yes, that is every 5 years. Every year, and it takes me 6 years to get back in the building. But it's all good. Again, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you for having me.
You're coming back? The people
I won't make it 5 years this time.
You won't make it 5 years?
Maybe 2.5.
Cha. I got Arlene here. So Arlene, good night to you. How you doing? The Dace is in the building. Thank you so very much. You see it? You didn't come by the car every time there, but that's what I think. Big up Gabby, large up Al, everybody. I got to go again tomorrow. Brand spanking new single dropping. It's called "There Goes That Man." Ooh. It is my tribute to Ernie, and I'm gonna leave y'all with that right here. Super Jams, large up. Mama Jams, fam, and Traffic Rider Button. Thank y'all so much. Love Anne Marie. Thank you so much. I'm gonna go through all this stuff because Jano, I know you had a lot of input here, and I really appreciate it. I got to roll up out of here. This is the tune. Make sure you go get it tomorrow. I'm out.
Oh yeah, I don't know where souls going. They leave this earth, but I've been told it's lovely there. And I'd imagine it be endless. Fields of golden green, trees growing everywhere. I met this man some years ago, the coolest of people that I've ever known. And if you knew this man,
Juliana, I don't know,
you'd love him too.
Lots of Bernie Smith.
He had that aura you only find in a few. There goes that man. Oh, there goes that man. Yeah. There goes that man. Oh, there goes that man. Oh, Lord.
Drops tomorrow. Make sure you go get it, all right?
There goes that man. He's flying away. But I got a feeling I'm gonna see him someday. See, there goes that man. He's flying through space. And even in pain, he's got a smile on his face. Oh, there goes that man. Oh, Lord. There goes that man.
Judge up my Virgin Ernie. I miss you, Uncle Ernie. John.
There goes my friend. There goes that man. There goes that man.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ernie Smith.
When I went to do my first recording, they asked me, what is my name? I said Glenroy Smith. They said, no man, that's going to look terrible on the album cover.
I don't know where souls going. They leave this earth, but I've been told it's lovely there. And I'd imagine it be endless fields of golden green, trees growing everywhere. There goes that man.
Yes, indeed.
You're in Zion singing songs in rich baritones. It's true, like only you do.
Yes, man.
Lord, there goes that man.
Nakikinika sa música Homegrown with G. Cole.
Estás escuchando Homegrown con G. Cole.
您现在正在收听的是
Homegrown with G. Cole.
You're listening to Homegrown with G. Cole.
I got to go, y'all. Again, joint drops tomorrow. It's called There Goes That Man. Yours truly, G. Cole. My tribute to the legendary, late, great Mr. Ernie Smith.
I don't know where souls going. They leave this earth, but I've been told it's lovely there. And I'd imagine it be endless fields of golden green, trees growing everywhere. I met this man some years ago, the coolest of people that I've ever known. And if you knew this man, you'd love him too. He had that aura you only find in a few. There goes that man. Oh, there goes that man. Yeah, 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 yeah. There goes that man. Oh, there goes that man. Oh, Lord. There goes that man. He's flying away, but I got a feeling I'm gonna see him someday. See, there goes that man. He's flying through space, and even in pain, he's got a smile on his face. Oh, there goes that man. Oh, Lord. There goes that man. Oh, and there goes my friend. There goes that man. Oh, there goes that man.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ernie Smith.
When I went to do my first recording, they asked me, what is my name? I said Glenroy Smith. They said, no man, that's going to look terrible on the album cover.
I don't know where souls going. They leave this earth, but I've been told it's lovely there. And I'd imagine it be endless fields of gold.
Gotta go.
Trees growing.
Thank you, Anthony. Appreciate it. The boss, thank you. It's called There Goes That Man. Julianne says, is she coming back next week? You coming back next week? I see there to look back again. Cha-cha, every 6 years.
When I hear that thunder roll in the sky,
Not even election, I think so.
I think of you. I think of you.
Hey!
You're in Zion singing songs in rich baritones. It's true, like only you do. Lord, there goes that man.
And there you have it. Thank you so much for tuning in. It has indeed been a pleasure. Please remember to subscribe to the podcast. Homegrown with G. Cole available everywhere. All right. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel. And remember, be safe, be kind, and be good to each other. My name is G. Cole, and this is Homegrown.
Nakikinika sa música, Homegrown with G. Cole.
Estás escuchando Homegrown con G. Cole.
您现在正在收听的是 Homegrown with G. Cole.
You're listening to Homegrown with G. Cole.
Remember, all the music played here on the podcast Homegrown with G. Cole is available on iTunes, Spotify, Apple Music, and all your digital retailers. Please support the artists.